dog has attacked other dogs before.
Each time, she says, was the other dog's fault.
This is Judge Judy. Michelle Kirby and boyfriend Tim Lim are suing their former friend Niharika Vinod for vet bills due to a dog attack.
Judge, this is case number 123 on the calendar in the matter of Kirby Lim versus Vinod. Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Burb. Miss Kirby, this is your boyfriend, and I assume he's here because he covered some of this bill, or does he co-own the dog with you?
He co-owns the dog.
So, Mr. Lim, why don't you have a seat for a moment?
Sure.
If I need you, I'll call you.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. Okay. You and the defendant were friends. You made an appointment to meet for some wine, conversation, and take your dogs to a dog park. You had two dogs with you, a small dog, a miniature pinscher, and a dog that you say you were fostering. What kind of dog were you fostering?
They said that she was a shepherd mix.
Much larger dog.
Yes, larger breed.
And the defendant has a full-grown German shepherd, and you knew that.
Yes.
And you went to a dog park, and you both let your dogs off leash, correct?
Yes, it wasn't a dog fight.
So it's not a formal dog park, and you all let your dogs off leash. How many dogs were there that were off leash?
That's correct. So it was my two dogs that I had with me, Nee's dog and then my friend Abby's dog, so 4 dogs.
And what kind of dogs does your friend Abby have?
She has a Bernedoodle.
And your pinscher weighs how much?
17 pounds.
According to you, what happened was that the dogs were sort of playing around, and Pappy, your dog, yipped or barked at the defendant's German shepherd. And they're all off leash at this point. How far away from you and Miss Vinod were the dogs when your dog yipped or barked?
They were pretty far, and then they came closer. So they were arriving at the park. The barking started.
You mean, just a second, you mean they had gone far away from all of you?
Oh, no, they were just arriving. So we had just arrived. We were there probably for 15 minutes, and Nee was not there yet. So it was me and Abby, and our dogs were playing, and then about...
So it was you and your other friend, and the defendant arrived last.
Correct.
And your dogs and Abby's dog were off-leash playing.
Yes, they were.
And the defendant came to join you with her dog. Did you drive there by car?
It's about a 7-minute walk to the spot that they were at.
When you got out of your car with your dog for this 7-minute walk to where they were, was your dog on leash?
Yes, he was.
At what point did you take your dog off leash?
When I got there and I saw their dogs playing off leash, I took their lead and I got Rocket off leash.
Before or after you said hello to them?
They were at the far end from the point where I entered, so I just smiled at them. The dogs were in the middle. I let Rocket off leash, and I was walking towards Michelle. She was sitting on a picnic bench at that point to set my things.
Just a second, but you took your dog off leash when you saw her dog and Abby's dog playing in the distance. You took your dog off leash.
That is correct.
And did your dog run over to where the other dogs were playing?
No, ma'am. My dog is trained to heel while I'm walking.
And did the dog heel while you were walking?
Yes, he did.
At what point did he join the other dogs in play, or did he not?
Ma'am, we hadn't started officially playing. He was heeling while walking. And while I was going towards Michelle, although my dog was off leash, Pappy came barking at us. He was lunging in the air and nipping at my dog's face.
When she arrived, you saw her walking, and the defendant says that her dog that, and that little Pappy ran up to her dog, who was at her side. Is that correct?
Yes.
And yipped, like sometimes little dogs do. They jump up, whether it went to nip, whether it went to greet, I don't know. And you did see your dog running towards hers, and something happened before her dog, which was at her side, got your dog in its mouth. You saw something happen. That's what you say in your complaint. A yip or something.
Oh, he barked. No, he barked, he yipped. I did not see any lunging or nipping at the face. I've never seen him do that ever before. But he did bark at it. And I didn't see it that day either, that's for sure.
But the German Shepherd was at the side of the owner.
For the most part. I wouldn't say he was right next to her the whole time. He definitely, there's some space that had increased as they approached the table.
How many feet would you say Pappy ran when the other dog came into the park? I'm a dog owner, and I have small dogs. I know what I'm talking about. How far would you say Pappy ran? 50 feet, 100 feet, 150 feet from where the dogs were? How many feet?
I would say 40 feet, or to guess.
Okay. So your dog traveled 40 feet away from where you were?
Yes. I have a picture of the location, if that's helpful.
I'll look at it.
Yeah. So this is the spot where we met. This is the table that I was sitting at. And then you can see right over here is where Nee and her dog entered. So it was probably about 30, 40 feet from where we were sitting at this table.
Okay. Anyway, what happened was tragic because her dog, according to you, picked up your dog, bit Pappy, which caused serious injury. Dog was rushed to a vet, had to have surgery. Your vet bills were over $5,000. Dog had to remain in the center. And the defendant went with you to the vet. And I think if what I read is correct, the first $850 was taken from your credit card.
That is correct. That is correct. I drove Michelle and Pappy to the vet.
Great. And it's clear that $850 was never paid back to her, nor is she asking for that now because I don't have a counterclaim. So it's interesting. Both of your dogs were off leash. But from what she tells me and what you seem to acknowledge, and your dog was not. You know, I always say when you go to a dog park and you release your dogs and they're out there playing, you've lost control of an animal. The defendant says, and I believe her, that her dog is trained to heel. And in fact, did that when they walked into the park. It was your dog that ran across the park 30 or 40 feet, according to you, and that was where the confrontation was. And how many times previously to this date in June did you have occasion to be in the company of the defendant's dog?
Less than 10 times, but we would meet up at parks to let our dogs play.
Okay, so has your dog and her dog interacted before without incident?
Yes.
You say in your complaint that Rocket, that is the defendant's dog, has attacked other dogs before, so Nee should not have taken him to the dog park. Well, when did you find out about that?
Before the incident, I did find out. He had attacked large dogs. Each time, she says, it was the other dog's fault, but has never taken... Well, just a second. Yeah. So before the incident, Ms. Kirby, if what you tell me is true, that you knew that this 120-pound German Shepherd had other incidents with big dogs. Why in the world would you let a small dog have 10 play dates with a dog that you knew had incidents? I didn't imagine that a dog that big would care about a dog so small. I've never seen a dog react to such a small dog in that way. He's not in any threat whatsoever. He's 17 pounds.
Okay, well, that's a ridiculous answer. That's a ridiculous answer. Absolutely, it's a ridiculous answer, Ms. Kirby. What you are ascribing to a dog is a thought process that sometimes not even humans get. What you're doing is you're ascribing to the dogs a human thought process. Why in the world would I start up with a big dog like a German Shepherd? No. I'm just a little dog. I'm just a pincher. Oh, that's ridiculous. No, I'm talking about like the big dog. So like for me, example, I'm also about roughly the same weight as Rocket, like about 120 pounds. If something approached me that was 17 pounds, why would I feel the need to try to kill it or pick it up and throw it around in its mouth? It's not... I just said to you, you are ascribing to a dog a human's thought process. And I'd never seen anything like that before. Well, whether you've ever seen it, though, that's unfortunate. For dogs. That's unfortunate. She doesn't owe you any money at all. You took your dog, your 17-pound dog, on 10 play dates with 120 who had information before that would have said to somebody, I'm not going to take my dog for another play date with this dog because it has vicious propensity. I wouldn't take my dogs off leash.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Is that about basically right?
Well, there's a little more backstory to it, but basically...
You know, at my stage in life, I'm not so interested in other people's backstory. I hardly remember my own backstory.
Michelle Kirby says a German Shepherd owned by former friend Niharika Vinod attacked her miniature pinscher during a visit to a park.
I have a child who has two big dogs. They're wonderful, loving dogs. I have never seen them bite anybody. I have a new little dog, and I don't bring my new little dog to those dogs until I'm perfectly comfortable if they're off leash. Whether my little dog gets annoying, because sometimes they don't know that they're little. Little dogs don't know that they're little. Sometimes little dogs think they're huge, and sometimes big dogs think that they're lap dogs. Go on YouTube and look at the Great Dane that tries to snuzzle in with its dog. That's what happened. If you choose, you're the parent. Your pinscher is a toddler. If you choose to put your toddler at risk by taking your toddler to a playfield where there are teenagers, it's possible that when they're running and playing touch football, they're going to hurt the toddler. So I wouldn't take my toddler.
Here's like the example.
This isn't a conversation that we're having. You don't have a case against her.
Well, here's the thing.
Your misjudgment.
Please
it
let
was
me
your
explain that.
You have
her dog was not healing when he attacked my dog and did not let my dog go.
We're done.
Your Honor.
We're done. You have no case against her. Goodbye. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Their dog approached our dog 3 times.
My dog barked at her dog?
We moved away about 25 to 30 feet away, but their dog continued to run towards us.
Then her dog picked up my dog in his mouth and shook him back and forth as if he were a rodent or prey that he was trying to kill.
Barking, lunging, and nipping the face.
When her dog finally did let go of my dog,
which is a clear indication of attack,
I had to pick him up and apply pressure to his wounds.
The big dogs are not always at fault,
so that he wouldn't bleed to death as we got to the vet.
They are not necessarily the primary aggressors in a situation.
Next case.
All parties in the matter of Giavelli versus Perkins. Step forward.
Lawrence Giavelli is suing his ex-girlfriend, Regina Perkins, for the return of a motorcycle she was storing for him.
Mr. Giavelli, this is an interesting case. According to your complaint, the defendant, who was a friend of yours, did you a favor. Back in 2010, you were for some reason moving from one place to another. You were sort of short on funds. You asked her if she could store your motorcycle in her garage. She said, sure. You said, well, when I get enough money to have it shipped to where I want it to go, I'll send you the money and you'll ship it. Well, it's now 3 years later, and you want your motorcycle. And Miss Perkins says you can have your motorcycle when you pay her storage fees for the motorcycle, because she only agreed to keep the motorcycle for 6 months. You didn't pick it up in 6 months, so she has chosen an arbitrary figure of $250 a month storage, so she's got a counterclaim for $5,000. Miss Perkins, in what city and state is this motorcycle?
Oxnard, California.
And where do you live, sir?
Brandywine, Maryland.
And you have his motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you driven it over the last 3 years?
No, ma'am.
Was the story that I laid out when we started this, wants it back, say you can have it back, pay the fees? Is that about basically right?
About basically right, yes, ma'am.
Well, there's a little more backstory to it, but yes, basically.
At my stage in life, I'm not so interested in other people's backstory. I hardly remember my own backstory.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have a picture of the bike right here.
I don't want to see it. Unless it's of a good-looking guy in a bathing suit, I am not interested in a picture of your motorcycle.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lawrence Giavelli says ex-girlfriend Regina Perkins won't return a motorcycle she is storing for him. Regina is countersuing for storage fees.
What year was this motorcycle?
That's 2001.
And when did you buy it?
2009.
Don't ask me, was that a question mark at the end?
2009, yes.
How much did you pay for it?
$1,500.
Was that a question mark?
No, it's $1,500, ma'am.
And you did not drive it over the last 3 years?
No, ma'am.
Anybody else drive it?
No, ma'am.
Great. So now you got an old motorcycle that's 12 years old that nobody has driven for 3 years. laying in a garage that you think is worth as much today as it went to understand where you're coming from?
Well, I have a picture of the bike right here.
I don't want to see a picture unless it's of a good-looking guy in a bathing suit. I am not interested in a picture of your motorcycle. I just want to understand, your position is that this motorcycle that you bought in 2009 for $1,500 is worth the same today, despite the fact that nobody has started it, touched it, moved it, polished it, oiled it, greased it, whatever they do, lionized it, or anything else for the past 3 years. I just want to know if that's your position. That requires a yes,
ma'am,
or a no. Great. Ms. Perkins, did you have an agreement with Mr. Giovelli to pay you storage for the motorcycle?
No.
So you cannot create a contract because you decide to create a contract unilaterally.
Okay, the agreement was he could keep the bike there till August of 2011.
Great. And if that's your agreement, and if you took it to the dump after that and treated it as abandoned property, if you could satisfy me that that was true, you would have been within your rights. You say he said he was going to keep it there till August. I kept it there. I notified him. I said, come and get your motorcycle or I'm throwing it in the garbage. And he didn't come. You could have thrown it away with him. $250 is your arbitrary figure that you pulled out of thin air.
Actually, I called storage companies and they gave me, I called 3 of them and I got an average. That's how I got it. It wasn't just arbitrary out of my head.
Well, it is an arbitrary figure when you are creating a contract. So what I'm telling you is you could have thrown it away, but you tell me you didn't throw it away, that it's still sitting there.
Correct.
Great. Now, Mr. Giovelli, do you want your motorcycle back?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what state you're in now?
California.
Do you know what state your motorcycle is in?
California.
Go and get it.
Yes, ma'am.
And what are you going to do with it when you go and get it?
Take it back to Maryland.
Just for my own information, how do you propose to do that?
Have it shipped.
Have it shipped?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know how much that's going to cost?
About $700.
And you think the motorcycle is worth double that?
Yes, ma'am.
So it would be worthwhile for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
You have 24 hours to get your motorcycle. We will give you an order. You have the title. Go with the police to her garage and get your motorcycle.
I don't to the dump. And I took care of it for him for 3 years now. And I think I should be compensated for my time and effort and the things that it's cost me.
What have you done with the motorcycle over the last 3 years? You've already told me that nobody drove it.
Right. Out of respect for the gentleman and his property, I didn't want anything to happen to it.
You said cost time and effort and money. I just want you to tell me.
That's right. I have a picture of where it's stored. And it prevented me from using that whole side of my house.
Could have thrown it away.
When he left it, it leaked oil on my driveway.
24 hours, go and pick up your motorcycle.
Yes,
your counterclaim system.
You know, when I called the police, they told me I didn't have to give it to him because possession was 9/10 of the law.
Are you still talking? I'm not listening anymore.
Okay.
Bodies are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
That was an accident. Instead of reversing their boat, they suddenly accelerated. There are a lot of boats out there, and you don't know what in the world you're doing.
Next Judge Judy.
Out of respect, I didn't write it. I didn't use it. I took care of it as if it was my own.
We were friends and just had a falling out, and friendship's over, I guess.
He did send his son at one point, but that was 14 months after the agreement to come and get it.
I just king her.
The police told him I didn't have to give it to him because possession was 9/10 of the law.
He said, well, it's on her property, and if I try to get the bike, it's breaking and entering. And unless she brings it out onto the sidewalk, I can't get it.
If I had left my property with someone, I would want the same respect.
I am very glad to have my motorcycle. I feel complete now.
You didn't see that the window was open.
A renter's unlucky run-in?
I just completely walked into the window with trash in my hand and fell back.
And you think that that's Mr. McIntyre's fault.
I'm not a clumsy guy.
Now the cleaning lady comes clean.
He jumped the fence because he was intoxicated.
You saw him fall.
I did, and he called his mom right away. And then she told him to sue them. That I heard.
This is Judge Judy. Maurice Barnes is suing bed and breakfast owner Edward McIntyre for lost wages and pain and suffering resulting from an accident that occurred on his premises.
Judge, this is case number 112 on the calendar in the matter of Barnes versus McIntyre. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. McIntyre, how long have you run a bed and breakfast?
2 years, ma'am, Your Honor.
Did you own the house before you started to run the bed and breakfast?
That way for 35 years.
So you bought it as a running business?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. This is what your case is about. Mr. Barnes, you were a guest in the McIntyre's bed and breakfast, and at some point during your stay, you were injured. You claim you were injured as a result of their negligence. You want them to be responsible for that. Mr. McIntyre and his wife say you are responsible for your own injury, not exactly sure why. It's possible that you were drunk at the time. And they have a counterclaim. A counterclaim is that you defamed them in your review of their property, and as a result of that defamation, they lost business. That's your counterclaim. So, Mr. Barnes, why don't you tell me what you were doing renting a bed and breakfast facility?
So I was renting a hotel before I had the bed and breakfast because originally I had a house fire, and that's how this all started, where I was renting a hotel during COVID time. So I figured the bed and breakfast would be
Now,
a
look
safe...
at me. Look at me. When did you have a house fire?
This was October 26, 2019.
Were you renting a room in that house, or did you own that house?
I own the house. I live
Where
in the house now.
Where is it located?
It's in La Costa, Carlsbad, California.
Is what I'm understanding that you were renting other accommodation for fire?
Yes.
From there, did you move into the bed and breakfast?
Yes.
And did you have a month's obligation?
We were going week to week.
And how much a week?
Okay, it was $70 a night, and then I had to pay for breakfast. It would come out to roughly $490 a week.
What date did you move out?
It was around June.
June, not around.
2nd. June 2nd.
On what date did you have your accident at the house?
May 25th.
On what day did either you tell the defendant or the defendant tell you that you were not remaining?
I called on June 1st. At 4:05, I asked Ed if I could stay another week because my ribs were hurting, and I asked him to stay another week.
Just a second.
Yes?
Just a second. Did he call you on June 1st?
No, Your Honor.
So you received no call from him on June 1st?
No, he was to check out on the 29th, and he didn't check out until June the 2nd, Your Honor. He was asking to extend his stay, and I said no. There was too many complaints. I'd lost too much revenue. There was too much damage. The staff was upset, and all were the guests. Many guests left early.
Just a second. So you said he cannot extend his stay. Does that sound right to you, sir?
Yes.
So, Mr. Barnes, I want you to listen to me. I'm in business. My business is I have a tenant who's no problem, pays their rent on time, doesn't cause any issues, and wants to stay. And I'm going to lose revenue for at least a week before I have another paying customer. So I say to myself, what could it be that a businessman, because he's a businessman, why would he not accept a request for a paying tenant to stay in their room?
Maybe because I was hurt on his property. I would think that maybe that's the reason, because you're asking a very good question, Judge Judy.
Mr. Barnes,
you're asking a very good question.
Mr. Barnes, they don't keep me here because I don't ask good questions. They keep me here because I ask good questions. Here's my next question to you. After the accident happened on May 25th, did you contact a lawyer?
I did. I will say, it's a family friend. My mom, it's from our synagogue.
I don't give a rat's behind whether he lives in your house or he's your mother's boyfriend or he's from the same synagogue. You contacted a lawyer.
Yes.
And you discussed with the lawyer this incident.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
With a view towards having this lawyer represent you in this lawsuit.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Did the lawyer take the... I want you to tell me about May 25th.
That's the night when I fell. This is I have a picture of where I was walking just
Would you look up at me?
Sorry. I have all these papers down here. I'm very sorry, Judge Judy.
Tell me the time of the incident.
It's 7:30 p.m.
And you live in California.
I live in California.
And 7:30 p.m. in May, it's sort of getting to be dusk.
Yes.
Right. And had you done any deliveries that day?
Yes.
And then you're going to tell me for whom and what time?
That day I was doing DoorDash, so it was just around La Jolla.
What time?
Maybe 2:30 p.m. till around 5 p.m.
Okay, so you got home at 5 p.m. And what did you do?
This is the night I watched TV. I had the TV on.
Could you look at me?
Yes.
Don't look down.
Sorry. And...
No, that day.
Yeah, that day. And then I'm cleaning. And I'm taking the trash out. That was the whole 2 hours of me being there.
So you came home.
What else was I really doing?
You came home, you had dinner.
Yeah.
And watched your little TV, and then you were taking out the trash.
Yes.
And that was at 7:30. So tell me what happened. Look up at me and tell me what happened.
Okay, so it's dark. This is exactly what happened. I'm walking out. There's 3 steps to get downstairs. I'm walking downstairs. You make a right. As soon as you make a right, there's a window. I walked into the window and hit the window, just completely walked into the window with trash in my hand and fell back. And that's when I hit my back, and it's my rib that was injured, apparently. I immediately knew something was wrong. Like, I knew something was like, I'm like sitting there, like on my back, like, you know. And at first I didn't really know what it was, like, honestly. I just knew that my whole side was hurting, so.
Your ribs hurt?
Yeah.
And the window that was open, had that been a newly installed window?
I don't know.
And from April 29th until May 25th, how often did you empty your trash?
Every day I would do it. So, I mean...
And when you emptied your trash every day, did you take the same route?
Yes. I would wade my way through plants.
Just a second.
Yep.
Just a second. Now, I assume that you took out your trash at the end of your day after you had dinner. You didn't want to leave your food or whatever, because you said you had dinner. That's what you usually do. You come home, you have dinner, right? And then you take out the trash.
Yes.
So that every day for a minimum of 26 or 27 days, you took the same path to do the same trash run, and they didn't put in a new window.
No.
So it's open. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you think that that's Mr. McIntyre's fault?
Well, the fault is just by looking at this picture. And then I want you to tell me if you can get through it. And if you can,
just
then,
a second.
then
I
you're
don't
right.
have to tell you what I'll tell you what I think in about 4 minutes.
Absolutely.
But right now you can show me the picture.
Okay.
Right now you can show me the picture.
I've been dying to use this thing.
Yeah. I got it.
I also have a text that was...
Now,
yeah.
I got it. Same path that you used every day, and you walked into a window. Now, I actually see that there are several open windows.
Yeah,
there's the one that's closest.
There's
and then there's
here,
another.
Big potted plants.
Sir, did the plants, were they given some sort of a super-duper miracle grow that they grew overnight from May 24th to May 25th when you emptied the garbage?
No.
I mean, did they become Godzilla plants overnight?
No.
It was the same route that you took for 27 days to empty your trash.
Yeah.
This time a window was open. Now, my question to you is, does the defendant control that window, or was that another resident's window?
It's another resident's window that's next to me, and it wasn't the first time that I've hit the window. So just saying.
Oh, so you knew about, just a second.
I've known about these
so you
windows,
knew that the window was sometimes open.
Yeah,
Just a second. Yeah, be careful.
Right.
Why is that the defendant's fault?
There's zero light.
I mean, I know the lawyer tried to explain.
Well, there's no light. If you just, I wish somebody was there. I mean, I'm not a clumsy guy. There's no light in this like little alleyway. You have this tiny little way to walk through. I mean, if you could just you could see it. You could see where the plant is, and that's my designated area. For what I don't. Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to talk about your counterclaim. Go.
Sure, Your Honor. I hired him.
What are you complaining about?
I hired him for $1,700 a month. He was supposed to do social media and build us up, and he said he was going to have it rain guests and that he was going to fill the place up. And when he left, he wrote a scathing review calling me unethical, immoral. He said it was the worst place he'd ever stayed in his life, that he'd give me a 0 if he could, but the lowest he could give me was a 1. Then he had his sister write a letter. It was another scathing review. She didn't even stay there. He had his father write me a scathing review. Didn't even stay there. I had to sell the place because we were losing money regularly, and I took a $500,000 loss, Your Honor, on that property. Not that it was all his fault. His COVID contributed to it, but he certainly contributed it to as well, because he did the exact opposite of what he told me. He said he was going to bring in clients, but in actuality, he defamed me, Your Honor.
Mr. McIntyre, Mr. Barnes is entitled to write a negative review of us. who never stayed with you wrote a negative review about you, I think you should sue them, because that they can't do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He defecated in the alleyway, and I explained to him that the alleyway was only for service.
Mr. McIntyre, who saw him defecate in a public area?
My star witness, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear from that witness.
Maurice Barnes says he was staying at Edward McIntyre's bed and breakfast when he hit his head walking into an open window. Edward is countersuing for destruction of property, defamation, and loss of revenue.
If, however, his relatives who never stayed with you wrote a negative review about you, I think you should sue them, because that they can't do. You see, he's entitled to do it, but his sister can't, his father can't, his mother can't, his brother can't, because the only way that they would know about that is from him, and it was clearly designed to damage your reputation. And if they suggested in their review that they had been a resident of your place, then you have a not him, because he stayed there. To him, it wasn't a pleasant stay. That's what happens when you advertise on the internet. You're allowed to do that and write a review. Now, damage is another thing. Do you have photographs of the damage?
I have my star witness.
No, I want to see photographs.
Your Honor, we have photographs of the review.
I don't want to see photographs of the review. I want to see photographs of the damage that he is alleging. He's alleging damage. I've taken care of his defamation.
Here's one. Here's the bathroom. You can see it's totally black.
Okay.
Here's one of the sheets and towels that were destroyed and uncleanable. There's more sheets and towels that were destroyed, and the toilet. And this, Your Honor, this is his actual feces that he left in the laundry room and all over towels, as well as he defecated in the alleyway. And I explained to him that the alleyway was only for service. He was not to use it because it exposed people's bathrooms and bedrooms, and his windows were the ones that were open, not anyone else's.
Mr. McIntyre, who saw him defecate in a public area?
My star witness, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear from that witness. Tell me your name, please.
My name is Susan Martinez.
Ms. Martinez, how do you know the defendant?
He actually stood there at the bed and breakfast in La Jolla. Complaints of him, yes.
Did you have a room on the first floor, second floor?
Well, Your Honor, she was the maid at the hotel.
I either stood...
Did you stay there?
I started staying there, yes.
Did you also do housekeeping for
I sure did, yes. We had a number of complaints, so I was told to stay, and I stood there.
No, listen. Yes. Listen to me. Don't tell me about complaints. Okay. That's hearsay.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He called his mom right away on speaker, told her what happened when he jumped the fence because he was intoxicated, and then she told him to sue them.
Mrs. Barnes, son ever drink? Does your son ever drink? Is my question. Does your son ever drink?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maurice Barnes claims he was injured while staying as a guest at Edward McIntyre's bed and breakfast.
Could you tell me what, if anything, you observed about Mr. Barnes with regard to any of the photographs that I've seen?
There was different occasions of stuff. One of the maids called me that he was going in, I guess, with his dog.
You can't tell me what one of the maids told you.
So anyways...
Only what you saw.
Okay, well, I seen him coming out of the laundry room, and there was stairs to his room. He had brown stuff all over his... I didn't see him in there, but he came out of the laundry room, yes.
Your Honor, what?
What else did you observe about
his behavior?
Mr. Barnes?
His behavior and his constantly being intoxicated. A number of times asking him to lower his music because we had guests that would leave. Your Honor, what I do want to say is the day that he fell, I was in the John Sousa room, and he called his mom right away on speaker, told her what happened when he jumped the fence because he was intoxicated, and then she told him to sue them. That I heard. In front of God Almighty, I heard that.
Did you see him jump the fence?
I did. I was in the John Sousa room. He was jumping.
Go ahead.
He would go to the park across the street with his dog every day, and that's where he was every day.
Just a second.
Yes.
What I'm asking you is, Miss Martinez,
These are lies.
Did you see him on the 25th of May injure himself?
He was jumping the wall gate, is what he was doing.
And did you see him fall?
I did.
You saw him fall?
I did, and he called his mom right away.
You did not see me fall.
Okay. Ms. Martinez, why don't you have a seat?
Okay.
Mrs. Barnes, why don't you stand up for a moment, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're his mom?
Yes, I am.
Does your son ever drink? Is my question. Does your son ever drink? How far away do you live from him? How far away do you live from him? Who lives with you?
I live with my daughter and take care of my granddaughters.
When your son had a fire and he wasn't working anymore, was there no room for him in his sister's house?
No, not really.
What do you mean, not really? It's an emergency. It's COVID.
So
his house caught on fire.
I guess my daughter was concerned because of my granddaughters. She didn't want, because he does deliveries sometimes. She was afraid. She's a physician too, so she was afraid that he could bring COVID to the house with the granddaughters and the family.
Right. Why don't you have a seat?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Do you have estimates, sir, on the sheets and towels that he destroyed?
No, I got those from Target, $150 for 4 sets of sheets each.
Okay, well, I can't take that from you, sir. Okay, and you rented the room about 6 days later, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Barnes, the lawyer who you spoke to from the defendant has insurance, which is a very easy thing. Could have sued his homeowner's insurance.
Who said I did?
I'm speaking now. I'm speaking. You have no case. You got hurt because of your own negligence. I don't know whether you were drunk or not, and I don't care. If you were drunk, you were doubly negligent. If you weren't drunk, you walked into a window. It wasn't a window that he flung open. It was a place that you had walked 28 days before every single day. And according to you, the window was also open on some of those days. That was your path. If you walk into a wall, it's not the wall's fault. It's your fault. You walked into something. You had an accident. It's your fault. Your case is dismissed. I suggest you sue whoever it was, not him who defamed you. Do you understand?
Your Honor, he's the one who defamed me by calling me unethical, immoral, but he also put his sister and his father up to this.
Well, I don't know whether he did or not, sir, but right now I'm telling you, if you want to sue his sister and his brother, sue them. I'd be more than happy to hear the case. Do you understand?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Perfect. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy...
He called me a prostitute.
I used other words.
I wouldn't smile if I were you.
Next, Judge Judy.
Every single one of those allegations were, like, crazy.
I think he definitely defamed my character and definitely put a hurt on the end.
I don't like hospitals, but I went the next day because...
He exposed himself to the maids. He was quite indecent. He never wore a face mask.
You know ribs, man. I finally knew what rib injury was. That was a rib injury, so...
Because we needed the money to pay the mortgage. We were, pulling money out every month to pay the mortgage.
I don't know. I wish they would have given me something to clean the place with. I was there for a month. Nobody's cleaning the place.
I figured it was close to the end, and I talked to him, and he would say that he would behave, but he never did.
Time to move on. God bless,
I'm so glad not to have any more to do with him. He's been the worst guest that I've had in 30 years.
How did you find each other?
It was through a dating app.
I guarantee you, he thinks he's God's gift.
Charmed out of her money?
He gave him a credit card. He thinks he's adorable. He probably has done this sort of thing before.
But the judge doesn't...
I know he thinks he's an attractive guy, but you're a smart lady. That's not smart.
My bad.
This is Judge Judy. Julie Bossert is suing Manny Baker for unauthorized credit card charges and the return of property.
Judges, case number 107 on the calendar in the matter of Bossard versus Baker. Parties have been sworn in.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. Baker, I'm going to start with you, sir.
Yes.
You met the plaintiff online, is that right?
Correct.
How?
Through a series of messages. We messaged each other. I was working in her neck of the woods.
Well, how did you message each other? How did you find each other? That had to be a site
it was through a dating app.
What app?
Plenty of Fish.
And in what month did you first connect on this dating app?
I think it was March 2020.
And how far away did you live from each other?
I'm about 300 miles.
When, for the first time, did you meet in person?
I don't have the exact date, but it was late March, probably March 20th-ish.
Did you go to where she resided, or did she come to where you resided?
Actually, she was a hairstylist, and during COVID, haircuts were illegal, and my haircut was getting quite long, and she said, so I went to her salon and
well, that's 300 miles, sir.
Oh no, I was working. I was
asking you.
I was working in the area at the time.
Oh.
Yep.
What kind of work do you do?
At that time, I was selling walk-through bathtubs. Sales, in-home sales.
Well, you were now 300 miles away from your home. Where were you staying?
I stayed, there was an Airbnb in Spokane that was probably 20 minutes from Post Falls where Julie lived, where the hair salon was.
How long did you stay at this Airbnb?
February 1st to, I used it, I still use it, I still go there. I've been using it. The first time I went there was February 1st of 2020.
So that you use it for what purpose? For selling walk-through bathtubs?
Yeah, I have certain appointments that I have to be on throughout the state of Washington, Idaho, and Oregon.
For selling
yes, ma'am.
Through bathtubs?
Yes, ma'am.
So you work for a company?
Yep. In-home sales.
What's the name of the company?
Safe Step.
Are you a salaried or a commissioned employee?
Commission only.
How long have you been with them?
I started January 1st, did training. Actually, might have even been right at January 1st. I think I was out of training around January 11th.
What were you doing before that?
I'm a general contractor. Preferred the in-home sales side of it. When I get into someone's home, it's just second nature to me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Then it's way more lucrative.
Prior to that, you were in general contracting. Did you work for somebody else, or did you do that yourself?
Mostly self-employed since right out of high school.
How old are you?
49.
Well, you're a grown-up, sir. You're almost a half a century old. So you were doing, until January of this year, you were doing what?
We would do...
Until you got this training job with walk-through bathtubs.
Right.
You were doing what to support yourself?
We were doing large remodels.
Were you ever...
Bathrooms.
Who was we?
Me and a team of guys that I've known for the last 20, 30 years. Some new ones, some old ones.
Have you ever been married?
I was.
Do you have children?
2 boys.
How old?
25 and 23.
Did you live with them when they were growing up?
I would never be apart from them. They were my everything.
That's not my question. I said, did you live with them when they were growing up? Is your former wife the mother of those children?
Yes.
And when were you divorced?
It was legal in 2011.
Well, you say it was legal. That means that you were...
Started in 2009, but we had a $5.5 million bankruptcy that we had to file, and that took a few years to get accomplished.
During that time, did you live together from 2009 until 2011?
2010 is when I moved from the home.
Did the boys stay in the home?
They did.
So that one boy was 13 and one boy was 15?
Correct.
And they lived with their mother?
Right.
Okay. Now, what kind of business were you in that involved, I assume, personal $5 million bankruptcy?
We were a developer and general contractor. We had 70 lots, 18...
Who's we?
Me and my wife.
And were you relieved of debt in the bankruptcy filing?
It was a Chapter 13, yes. There was still some debt that I felt that I still owe even after the bankruptcy.
What did you use the plaintiff's credit card for? She gave you, shortly after you met, a credit card that had a zero balance.
Right.
What did you use it for? Because you were the sole person who used it.
Correct.
What did you use it for?
We used it for a few supplies, and Julie did give me one card, then she her balance on it, and so I paid off the first card that she had given me. She paid it. I paid her to pay it.
What did you put on that card?
We bought supplies.
What did you put on the first card?
Supplies.
Supplies for what?
For a job.
For what?
That we currently had going on in city of Newport, Washington. There was a small amount of supplies.
Shh. You mean you and the plaintiff?
No, that was just me.
So you bought supplies for your own business.
Correct.
For your own business.
Right.
Not walk through bathtubs on commission. You were doing a side job, something else, with your own business having nothing to do with her, and you used her credit card for some supplies. How much? How much?
The supplies may have totaled $1,500 to $1,800.
Did you pay it off that card?
I did pay off that card.
Did he pay off that card?
I made a decision to take money he gave me to pay off that card, along with other money he gave me to put towards the other card.
Okay, so he gave you money and you paid off that card.
Correct.
Then you gave him another card. In what month?
Well, it was the
What month?
It was the same month. My bad.
Well, so tell me what month?
May.
So you met in March, the end of March, and by May, a romantic thing for either one or both of you. I'm not so sure about you, but I could tell you for sure about him. It wasn't a romantic thing for him. So at some point, what kind of work do you do, by the way?
I am a salon owner, and I still work behind the chair.
So you work hard for your money?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
assume.
I've had my business for 20 years.
Now, I know he thinks he's an attractive guy, but, you know, you're a smart lady. If you're a business owner for 20 years, you're a smart lady. You meet a guy the end of March, and by May, you're giving him a credit card. That's not smart.
Well, there were prior things that happened to me giving him the card. I was under the impression that we were going into the sewer business together. And as a part of doing business, supplies...
Why in the world would you want to go into the sewer business together with somebody that you met online, that came for a haircut, and a couple of weeks later said, I need a credit card because I'll go into business with you. Right now, I just finished my training in walk-through bathtub sales. I've been through a bankruptcy, a $5 million bankruptcy with my ex-wife who had a business. Why would a smart lady who's run a business for 20 years give a credit card to anybody? Do you know that I have children who I love more than life? I will give them anything they want except a credit card of mine. A finite amount of money? You want $500? Tell me what it's for, it's yours. You need more? Tell me what it's for, it's yours. If it's reasonable, I wouldn't give somebody a credit card. You give some stranger who you know nothing about, and you're a business gal, and a hardworking business guy. I don't understand it. So you're going to have to explain it to me, because according to you, you gave him a credit card. You know, he thinks he's adorable. He probably has done this sort of thing before. I assume he has over the last 10 years or even more when he was married. I'm not exactly sure about that. But I guarantee you, he thinks he's God's gift. Has that air, because no guy that didn't think that about himself would ask somebody and use their credit card and then stiff them, which is what you did. Which is what you did.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you pay off everything that you bought and still own?
Technically, no.
What does technically mean?
I literally made payments, and I've spent $5,500.
Who cares what you spent?
And later today.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm not.
What does that mean? Right now?
I'm under a lot of
stress by the minute.
Julie Bossard is suing Manny Baker for unauthorized credit card charges and the return of property.
Now, you used her credit card, and then you stiffed her. That's what you say.
Not true.
So in order to do that, you really have to... Really? Not? Did you use her credit card and buy equipment?
Oh, I made payments.
Did you buy equipment?
I did, and I made payments.
Did you pay off... Just a second. Did you pay off everything that you bought and still own and still have possession of? Very easy question. Did you pay off everything that was purchased that you still have possession of?
Technically, no.
What does technically mean?
Well, I literally made payments, and I've spent $5,500 on replacing the tractor.
Who cares what you spent? I don't care about a tractor trailer. She bought a tractor trailer. You weren't in business with her. She got annoyed that you hadn't paid the credit card. She took back the tractor trailer that was in her name. So I don't care.
Okay.
You used the tractor trailer while you had it. Who cares? What I'm asking you, sir, is do you have equipment in your possession that was purchased on her credit card?
I do.
That you didn't pay for? I'm going to sign an order for a marshal to come and get the following equipment. Read it out.
The following equipment.
What equipment is going to be picked up with the aid of a marshal?
It is a jetter and a sewer camera.
How much was it just for my jetter and sewer camera?
The Seattle pump was $2108.25, and the camera was $3423.80.
Well, that's $5,000 worth of stuff, $5,600 worth of stuff.
Correct.
Great. Where is it located?
City of Sumner.
What facility?
My home base. My home.
What facility? It has a name.
Well, we call
Apex
it
Storage.
It's my
What is
primary residence. Do you want the address?
Is this equipment at your residence? I have
is.
to give the marshal a location to pick it up.
1 Valley Avenue East.
Is that where he lives?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have a marshal's order. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're done. Bye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
There was an agreement that we had made.
I put my trust into somebody that had no intention of protecting me at all whatsoever.
She simply bowed out of the agreement and left me kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
So it's
icing on the cake for her.
He never continued on with the business to pursue it.
I see her point of view.
He was on to pole barns. He was wanting me to give him $20,000 for property to invest in a wedding venue.
We certainly had a lot of conversations.
I get up every day and I work really hard for my money.
She is a hard worker. She's done well for herself, and wish her nothing but the best.
Oh, I'm just going to keep on. This is 1 out of 4 with him.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Labrie versus Taub, step forward.
Sandra Nicole Labrie is suing her former roommate, Jonathan Taub, for the return of her property, motel bills, and punitive damages due to a false arrest.
Miss Labrie, what kind of work do you do?
I'm in
it's not an answer. Don't look down here. Look right here. What kind of work do you do?
Entertainment, music, and
You're
I do
an
side
artist in
catering.
entertainment and music.
Yes, and I
Where do you work?
I do side catering.
You do side catering. What does that mean?
Side catering means like if a person needs me to cook them anything, I can prepare a dish for them.
How do you support yourself?
Right now, I'm not.
What does that
under
mean?
a lot of
Right now,
stress. I'm under a lot of stress right now. I'm trying to
Me too.
regroup.
I'm getting more stressed by the...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That night, when the police came, she said, while you're at work, I'm having sex with all kinds of guys, and I have $30,000 in the bank, and I'm not going to pay you a dime. Ha ha.
How did you know her?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandra Nicole Labrie says former roommate Jonathan Taub won't return her property. She is also suing for motel bills and a false arrest.
I want to know how you support yourself.
Friends.
Friends.
Family and friends.
Family and friends. Right.
Okay.
And where do you live? In what jurisdiction do you live?
Right now, I'm living in Century City.
Century City?
Yes.
That's pretty expensive territory.
In a motel.
You must have nice friends.
Well, I had savings.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Taub?
Swimming pool, pumps, motors, equipment.
What does that mean, swimming pool, pumps, motors, equipment?
I repair them, install them.
You have a company?
Yeah, I work for...
No. You have a company.
Yes. I work for other people, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm self-employed for
What's
many
the name
people.
of your company?
Jonathan's Pool Service.
And are you a corporation?
No. Sole proprietorship.
So people pay you in cash?
No. Like, 1099. Once in a while I might get paid in cash, but it's 1099 most of it.
Okay, this is your claim. He took you in as a roommate.
Yes.
You were supposed to pay rent.
Yes.
He came up short most of the time on your rent. That's what he says. You came up short on your rent.
I don't think so.
At some point, according to you, you had a disagreement with him. You had to go to the hospital and spend 3 days in the hospital because you had an asthma attack.
Yes.
And then when you came out of the hospital, he had taken all of your stuff, put it in storage, locked you out. The police, according to you, told you you could break into the house, right?
Yes.
Police said you can break in through the glass door in the back.
They weren't getting into it.
No. According to you, the police told
Yes.
you to break into the house,
Yes.
is what I'm saying. That's what you say here. And so you broke into the house, then there was a big argument because he came home, found you in the house. What?
I called the locksmith right here, a locksmith.
Yes.
The police said they weren't getting involved. It was a civil matter.
Yes.
Do whatever I had to do. So I called the locksmith.
Yeah.
Because I was like from a hospital bed to a jail cell the same day.
Okay. When he came home, he found you in the house. There was an altercation. The police were called. He told the police that you had slapped him. You were taken to jail. You were all doing for a host of things, $5,000 for stolen property, for your motel bills, for punitive damages due to false arrest.
Yes.
And you say she didn't pay rent.
Yes. The thing, I had to press charges because if I left her there, she might damage my property. If I were to stay there, she kept taunting me.
How was she taunting you?
That night, when the police came, she said, while you're at work, I'm having sex with all kinds of guys, and I have $30,000 in the bank, and I'm not going to pay you a dime. Ha ha.
How did you know her? Let's go back for 1 second.
How'd I meet her?
Yeah, how'd you meet her? And when?
Years ago.
Years ago, where?
Online, probably Craigslist.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Does she have her stuff back now?
I put everything in storage.
Does she have her stuff back now is my question.
I don't know. I haven't been in storage.
Is her stuff in storage?
Yes.
Great. And you haven't been there because
I'm locked out.
Listen to me. Try to clear your mind for a second. Have you been there?
Yes.
And you can't get in?
I can't.
Great. Well, he's going to let you in. You can take all your stuff.
No, she's lying. I saw
No,
she was in there.
Just a second. Let her into storage.
She
take
has
her
the key.
stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Follow my words. I don't believe either one of you, actually, so I'm going to get rid of this case very fast. Do you know why I don't believe either one of you? Because you're both full of baloney.
No,
so listen to me very carefully. If you told me her stuff is in storage, then she's going to go and get her stuff from storage. And then the case is over. You don't have a counterclaim. He's not responsible for your motel bill.
Your Honor.
He's not responsible for your motel bill.
I can't get in storage because it's past due.
Bye.
Really?
Really?
I'll just excuse you and step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy, her mother-in-law stands behind her son.
She haven't filed for the divorce, and she's not. I will, as soon as I get home. I left the house due to domestic violence.
Judge Judy.
I probably would have let her stay there. She just said, hey, I don't have the money. Can you help me out?
Oh, God, I paid him rent.
But she wasn't like that. She was taunting me.
He owed me, for damaging my property, 20 grand.
If you're a good little boy, maybe I'll pay you the rent. Hey, can you clean my toilet?
He stole